I saw a couple of pics from the Sheru Classic. You were there, I think, this time. And it's the only IFBB, approved, event in India, I guess.
They are collaborated.
Okay.
Basically, the body that is collaborated with, it's called IHHF, International Health and Fitness, something it's called.
Okay.
So they are collaborated and they have the permission to conduct events on behalf of IFBB here and even hand out a pro card to the winners, which will give those guys an opportunity to compete in IFBB competitions.
Right. So how do you see the future of bodybuilding in India? Because I see because I've been following bodybuilding almost like 10 years or so. I'm following bodybuilding when I was in college and I saw all the, Olympia from Jay Cutler to, Ronnie and now Sheridan, which I think will not be there this year, unfortunately. So how do you see, the rise of bodybuilding in India and the future of bodybuilding in India?
Definitely bodybuilding in India is growing very quickly right now. It's become an amazing sport. A lot of people from full-time professional in fields are, and not just bodybuilding, I would even say MMA,
right?
Then powerlifting.
CrossFit,
yes. I mean, CrossFit still as a competition is not as active as others. But these other, especially bodybuilding, is something that has really, really picked up. It's no more just a few handful of people who are just training and, doing these competitions. Now, somebody or the other at some point of time wants to compete, get in shape and, go do these competitions. And there are so many categories now.
Right.
So somebody who's just starting can even go and give his, give a try to men's physique. And now you have classic physique, you have fitness, then you have the full bodybuilding in different weight classes. So bodybuilding is in an amazing journey in India right now. But my fear is that along with this, there is also a lot of confusion for the athletes, that where will they compete? Where do they stand a good chance? Where will they get the recognition? So I think that's where, because now there are so many federations in India, both international and national. So somebody is saying, maybe a Muscle Mania, which is supposed to be a full natural federation, is a good place to compete. But then there's a lot of controversy associated with that. Then you have the Indian Bodybuilding Federation, IBBF. You can compete with them. In fact, if you compete with them, you might even get placed in some government jobs and things like that. But will you get the same recognition that, let's say, somebody in Sheru is going to get? I think that's where the athletes have some confusion. And, right now there is another natural federation that's come recently called INBA. So it's good in some ways, but it's very unstructured and very misguided right now. And I think eventually it will kind of settle itself out. Some federations will stay, some will go, and then there'll be more clarity on where the athletes go and do what. But as a sport, it's an amazing sport. But if somebody's competing to be recognized, then I think, there are fitness influencers on Instagram and Facebook who are going to be way more recognized just because they have that kind of reach. And there are some amazing bodybuilders. For example, there's one guy called Bobby Singh. You might have heard of him. He's an amazing athlete. He competes in the IBBF Federation. And he's won a lot of medals for India. But the guy, unfortunately, just doesn't have the recognition that he deserves. So that is, again, from a more media perspective. Like the media just doesn't cover the sport, let's say, as much as a cricket and all. But it is definitely growing. It is in people's mouth a lot more now. It's a subject of discussion in many places. So let's see. It's in an interesting journey of its own.
So I saw a recent documentary by Generation Iron. They featured one of our,
Gurman, sorry, not Virender Singh. Yes.
And they give good amount of time on him, his journey, and he's a vegan athlete, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, he's a vegetarian.
Not vegan, sorry, vegetarian. And they told his journey and how he wanted to get a pro card and chance to be Mr. Olympia. And he went to, I think, Italy or somewhere for his first pro card attempt, and he could not, get the first place. So I see that when I was surprised that they are showcasing someone from India, and they're showing their journey on their big platform. I was very surprised. But that also led me to question is that, is there any other athlete from India who is competing at the IFBB level events apart from, like you said, Virender?
Oh, there's so many now. Now all these guys who have got pro cards, they're all going to be competing at an international level. I think some of the top ones,
Yeah.
I mean, who I consider are very worthy contenders are this one lady called Navreet Josen. She's first pro card holder in India from the bikini, from in the bikini division.
Right.
Then you have Deepika Chaudhary. She's in women's physique. In fact, I think Deepika was the first athlete in India to get an IFBB pro card in bodybuilding. And then there is Junaid Kaliawala. He's in men's physique. Now this guy Manoj Patil got this thing also in men's physique. So Biki Singh in classic physique. So there are a lot of very credible athletes who are getting it. But these first few names that I mentioned, they probably are India's best chance right now of perhaps scoring at least a top 10. A top 5 is an extremely difficult task. I think Junaid in his last competition got a 13th or something like that.
Okay.
But that's still something.
Yeah, yeah.
That is still something because you're competing against 40, 50 people from all different parts of the world. So, we'll get there. It like I said, like bodybuilding is in a very interesting journey right now. And some of these athletes, they are holding the torch, leading the way, showing that, people like us, from different walks of life can compete at that level, can aspire to maybe someday become a Mr. Olympia or something like that.
Right.
But we are not anywhere close to achieving anything in Olympia or any of those big shows right now.
Right.
But what is happening is because the athletes are putting themselves out there and setting such big goals for themselves, the quality of athletes that are churning out of different parts of India right now is just amazing. Like if you go to Sheru, which is going to happen in a bigger way in Bombay in November.
Okay.
That's the main expo of theirs.
After Olympia.
Yes. So Olympia is going to happen in September.
Yeah. I mean, I think first big event after Olympia, right? If I'm not wrong.
Not necessarily. The Sheru is just another event.
Okay.
It's got nothing to it's not that the Olympia athletes are going to come here and compete.
But like if you remember, like 3-4 times, all the guys who were in Mr. Olympia, they came to Sheru.
Yes, so that happened till about
2013.
2013. Yeah. And after that, when I think in 2016, when Sheru again came back, then they came back with a different concept.
Okay.
So that used to happen. Now that doesn't happen. These guys come for promoting their own brands or something. But the Sheru Classic as a competition, which was for these top level bodybuilders, is not a competition anymore. Now they have made it. Sheru Classic is more for getting the pro card,
right?
And then there is Amateur Olympia that happens
for Indian athletes.
No, the Amateur Olympia is for all athletes. So anybody from any part of the world can come and compete.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So that's nice in one way, but then some of these other countries, especially Iran and all, they have some amazing athletes, and when they come here compete, it's genetically they are good, and for them to win over us is not a big challenge.
Right.
But like I said, as of this point, the kind of quality of athletes that are coming out of the Indian bodybuilding circles is amazing. So these are the best physiques we have ever seen. So it can only get better from here.